Hey, everybody.
Hey there.
We just wanted to bring you our top 3 things. So here we are talking about April data here in a rainy day in May, but lots of exciting stuff for sellers. And I think this is a good seller's market, right? So
Yeah, I think so.
What do they need to know, Mandy?
So top 3 things. Number 1, showing traffic is up 40% based on showing time activity. So that's a good thing. And that's year over year.
Yes. So check this out. So this comes out of showing time all the time. And look at this huge jump we got in April of showing activity, right? We are so much more in line with like the 2021 metrics where it was before those interest rates started to come down. The craziest part is why we had a jump in showing traffic into April still doesn't make a ton of sense, but people literally turned a corner and it's now being felt and treated like a spring market. I mean, that's a 40% change from this year to last year on this index. That being said, we're more normalized. You can expect consistent showing traffic. It's going to continue to slow all the way through the year from now till the end of the year, like it always does. But this was such a positive thing to see that huge bump because we could have easily been on a much more like, last year sort of trajectory. So nice to see that things didn't slow down, that buyers are still coming to market and buyers are excited to purchase.
Yeah. And I'm seeing the sharp increase, and that must have been Easter weekend right after. And so if we're looking at that orange line, the sharp increase is looking really good, and it hasn't come down as much as it feels. Right now on my side, it's feeling like things are kind of slow. We're seeing more competition, and the buyers are out there. But there's a lot of factors. I'm anxious to see what happens over. I was just talking on the phone with an agent about graduation weekend. That never seemed to be a factor, like a little bit of a factor.
Doesn't really show much of it on the radar, right?
But I have to tell you, I don't see it so much. There is that weekend right in May, end of May, Memorial Day weekend.
So that's always a huge factor.
Yes, huge factor. So if you can get your listings to market before then, that's amazing. But I gotta say, I'm anxious about graduation weekend, and here's why.
Yeah, why?
So the reason why is because we used to just celebrate high school graduation, right? And that's like, we're going to celebrate that. But we've also have college graduation. Now I'm going to a 5th grade graduation, a pre-K graduation, a kindergarten graduation, and an 8th grade graduation.
It's absurd is what it is.
So I heard a tip to potentially go onto the market if you have to list on one of those holiday weekends. And I think graduation should be considered around a holiday weekend. But, list Monday or Tuesday so that you can get some of those early week shoppers as well.
For sure. I listed on a Memorial Day weekend. One time we took it to market on a Wednesday. That way it was done before the weekend started.
Oh, that's right.
Good. Or at least like you had that initial.
Yeah.
So totally agree.
But it does look really good. If you were in summer market last year, that dark line shows how much lower showings were last year than they are.
Well, they really dipped off because interest rates started to rise by now. So we're finally getting good news in the interest rate market, which Mandy will talk to us a little bit about. So that is going to give us a tailwind per Barry Aviv. Yes. So, okay, number 2, this is a really important one. There's only 2 months of inventory on the market. It's a seller's market. That's in Boulder County. If you're in Denver Metro, it's only 1.1 months of inventory, and it's like an extreme strong seller's market. Like it's not very much off of last year. So here in Boulder County, still a really good sign, right? Here's the demand. Look at that month supply of listings. There's 2 months of listings. Pendings are still trending up. Now, are they as strong as last year? No. 15% off. That's fine, right? This is to be expected with the way that the market is. But honestly, this is a good sign for the market. I feel very, very good about where this is headed. Month supply of listings, though. I mean, as a seller, look at what everybody else does. Look at every other year does. We have rising inventory going into the fall. So like Mandy said, list those homes earlier, right? And avoid the holiday weekends.
Agreed. What do you think about June listings?
Sooner the better.
The sooner the better.
As long as you get them under contract before July 4th, I think you're fine.
Okay.
Yep. Look at this one. You did. You heard it here. Even though we're just telling you exactly what the market feels like every year.
Yeah.
But not all of this stuff, right? Just that. All right. Active listings. Here we are with 660 or 76. We're above where we were in 2019. We're only 34% up from this time last year. buyers just keep seeming to gobble up the new inventory, right? So we're just staying very stable. Now it's going to increase, right? It's bound to increase. You're starting to feel it. The showing traffic is like 30 to 60 days in advance from what is under contract. So that is showing that as that kind of increased, that gave us the bump in April. May is probably going to start to see that heightening of inventory and the slowdown that we would expect.
Yeah.
So what about the next one?
Next one, listed sales price in Boulder is 99.6. That's amazing.
It's right in line with 2019. That should actually, the number surprises me because it feels like we had a lot of bidding wars last month, but just because there were a lot of bidding wars, the average is in the middle, right? So some homes sat on the market longer, they took a discount. Some homes went way over asking price because they were the primo ones that people want. And then everybody else kind of fell in the middle. We're basically talking about at asking price offers.
Well,
on average.
And for the average, right now we're seeing that they're only going like 2, 3, 4% over. So not massively over.
Right. So those ones that weren't buttoned up and ready to go, maybe they're going 2, 3, 4% under. And that being said, that's where we get our average, right? All right. So look at this one though. This one always surprises me. Average days in MLS is still 200% above where it was a year ago. It's just taking time on average for them to sell. Now the median is like a fraction of that. It's probably more like the 12 number. So those ones that are selling quick and they look good, right? It's one of those listing advice things. If it's staged, if it's buttoned up, if it's priced right? They're selling fast. Otherwise, you're sitting on the market, and that's what it's telling us.
But my perspective as a lender on this, if you can't close in 30 days, you are out of the market. If you can't close in 2 weeks, you're out of the market. And I'll tell you, a lot of the banks are not coming through on those quick closings. So make sure this is only going to probably, get a little bit worse, as you can see, as history has shown us in the past summers, that I would say you've got to be able to close quickly.
Well, let's look at it from a historical perspective. You can put it right between us. Ooh. You can see that it dips all the way down through May, June, and July, and then it'll trend back up. So as you get into a fall market, expect this to start slowing down again, right?
Yeah.
As a seller, this is the fastest time to sell a home every year. So that means as long as it's under contract by, the end of June, this is a great time to sell a house, right?
Yeah.
Super convenient. It's in the middle of summer. It's easy to move. Buyers are out there and active, but you got to be priced right. All right. Well, there's some exciting news today in the interest rate markets. Do you want to talk a little bit about what's going on?
Yeah. So today was the big day. It almost feels like a little bit of a relief that it's here. We saw, the CPI report coming out showing about inflation coming down. So that was a good thing. We had some small surprises in there for April, and it was used car sales and oil and gas prices. So those went up. And I think I was just talking to somebody on the phone saying, things are expensive right now. Food is expensive. The grocery is expensive. I told her nobody's planning trips to Mexico right now. And, it's true. Yeah. She's like, I have a free trip to Mexico. And I'm like, take it.
Yeah. Right.
So, the CPI came out. It wasn't as positive as we would have hoped for. There were some other factors in there that didn't come out like as strong as what we would like, but we can see that all of the trends are coming down. And we know, like I've explained in the past, we know what last year's numbers look like. And those numbers are high. Those inflation numbers are high. So once those high numbers come as a 12-month average with lower numbers, then we're going to continue to see it fall down.
Right. This was the first month we trended in the right direction. And that's what everyone wanted to see.
Yeah. So we'll
even
see.
With those other numbers.
Yeah. So I really think, a lot of the experts that I follow still believe that we're going to have rates in the 5s this summer. So if you take anything from that, rates in the 5s this summer, I hope so. I'm getting a little impatient. I know my agents are getting impatient. I was really hoping for a big windfall today, but, if there's an explanation, we can see why. So it's not like it's completely out of the blue and that we're, shocked by it. So we will see how things continue to progress this summer.
So what do we get? 30 basis point drop today? Is that right?
Yep, about a 30 basis point drop. Yep.
That's awesome. I mean, that's still a huge relief from what we've had. So
improvement.
I feel good about that.
Yep.
All right. So interest rates.
Yeah, but we'll see that interest rates
still 5.5% or more.
You're 6.5
or 6.5.
Yeah,
obviously
yeah. We're still in the sixes.
We'd be cheering.
I know, but yeah, I would say we're low sixes. I've been quoting people low sixes.
Great.
So we're still looking pretty steady, pretty stable. I actually really like a market like this where things are kind of just, instead of these big giant leaps and bounds, because then it feels like you have to be so aggressive and active. So we can prepare people and tell them what's going to come. And but I would say get out there. Inventory is coming on the market, and for the sellers, sooner rather than later is going to be a good thing for you.
Yeah, for sure. Well, thanks for joining us today. This was our top 3 things sellers need to know. I'm Anthony with Land Title.
And I'm Mandy Pallone with Fairway Mortgage.
See you next week.
Bye.